just comes right in and blurts it out.
Yeah. What else is new?
Yeah. So, feel free to do what you need to do with regards to that.
Gotcha.
Yeah, but I tried to condense them and distill them into brief snippets.
I appreciate that.
Yeah. Last week we had on Mike Armstrong, and I had one question that was four like 6-sentence paragraphs, and that was hard.
Yeah,
we're not. Yeah, we're not going to do that.
Right, we've got 4 and a bit minutes until we actually go live. This is a little way for us to kind of allow people who are joining us on YouTube to get into the Hangout and get themselves nicely settled. If you are joining us, and I can see a couple of viewers in already, welcome along. What you're seeing on screen at the moment is a bunch of photos that have been sent in for our 5-minute countdown, and you're more than welcome to send them in as well. If you want to send them to pics@anenglishmaninsandiego.com, that's PICS at anenglishmaninsandiego.com. We'd love to see your favourite memories of Comic-Cons, of off-site events, of cosplayers, of celebrity encounters. Who knows? Maybe pictures of those rather large Funkos that you may spot at booths, such as that bloody huge Hulkbuster that was at Comic-Con this year, which was brilliant. But there we go. Yeah, do send them in to pics@anenglishmaninsandiego.com. And of course, the Q&A is open if you want to let us know where you're watching from, because it is a full interactive show. We want to know about your questions. We want to know what you want to talk about, especially when it comes to questions to our guests, who are Steve, Chris, and Cameron, and of course my partner in crime, Alyssa. Now I'll start with one question, but I'm certain that everyone else has got loads as well. And like I say, Alyssa, you got plenty from the forum as well. So, Cameron, you're going to be on the spotlight, sir.
I'm fine with it. I'm ready for the spotlight. Let's do it.
Now, the first question is going to be, so tell us about your mother. Tell us about what happened in your childhood to bring you into this.
That escalated quickly.
I know. Tell us about your core being.
He just breaks down crying, and that's what you start in on the beginning.
I did my best.
You should start there.
I did my best.
I'm so alone.
No, that's my line. So once again, yeah, if you are watching on the Google Plus event, jump in on the Q&A and ask us the questions. Let us know, number one, where you're watching from, and of course, any questions you may have. We'd love to hear them. We're going to go live in about a minute and a half. If somebody that I knew that was going to be watching, hello, Jason Coe, Corgi Commander. We've got a question from him a little bit later on.
Corgi.
Corgi.
And no doubt Cheesemo is going to be showing his face at some point. No doubt. Is that right, guys?
He's in Seattle.
Is he?
Traveling. Yeah,
Wow.
I don't know if he's going to join
Just that one straight up and say we don't have any Gears of War news.
Put that out there.
Literally every day of my life.
Shots fired.
I get a tweet from him like, Gears of War yet? Like, sorry, I wish.
Start calling him Andy Dufresne with the library. Quit sending letters. Uh-oh. Steve's connection can be dodgy.
Yes, so I can see.
Sorry, at least it's a good photo of him when he goes away.
Brutal.
Well, same drill. I'm certain we can talk about him behind his back as well. Once
always
again,
knows.
if you are wanting to send pictures in to the 5-minute countdown, which we will run before each and every hangout, send them in to pics@anenglishmaninsandiego.com. We would absolutely love to see them.
We're at 30 minutes, guys. 30 seconds, sorry.
Whoa.
I know.
Not 30 seconds.
I'm gonna go get a date.
Right now. Right now.
I might take it back.
Oh, yeah, okay, he's joined us back again. Never mind. Okay.
Please let me know if I should put headphones on. That helps at all.
I think you're
Realizing
sounding
I'm only
pretty good,
one
actually.
out.
I think you're sounding okay.
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 Cool.
If you
Let's
start
launch it.
hearing an echo, then that's the time to put the headphones on.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah.
I only have giant ones. I don't have earbuds. So.
Oh, you got the DJ cans, huh?
Yeah, I'll be the DJ for the session.
Doing a lot of this.
Well, you have to when you put them on.
It just happens.
Right.
Part of the deal.
Let me do my intro and let's crack into it then. Okay. Welcome to An Englishman in San Diego with myself, Leonard Sultana. This is a cup of tea, talking Comic-Con, where we discuss everything Comic-Con, con culture, things and bits and pieces that you can see at cons. And I'm certain that our special guest that we are going to be introducing very soon indeed represents a company that you will see pretty much at every single con, including one that happens next week for the first time. It is, of course, New York Comic Con next week. I'm reading plenty of tweets of everyone just getting all wound up and ready to go for this. It is the 10th year of New York Comic Con at the Javits Center, organized by RigPop. This is our second of our NYCC specials. Next week we'll be hopefully coming direct from a vantage point above the exhibition floor, where we'll be having a bit of a live report. But this is our kind of build-up to NYCC. And to help me do that, we have a couple of very special guests. I'll start with my regular partner in crime. We have Alyssa Franks from the Friends of CC Forum. Hello, Alyssa. How are you?
I'm well, in full-on prep for New York Con, just straight out, getting ready to drive down on Wednesday.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, is there anything that's sort of like you're just going to launch straight into it on the Wednesday? Is there anything in sort of like Super Week that you're going to be doing on Wednesday night?
No, we won't get there till about 10 o'clock. I have to leave after school. I can't take my son out of school for many days of high school. He's a sophomore in high school, so it's kind of straight into it. But we're going Thursday. First thing will be Thursday morning. I don't know what time we're going to show up, but you know, I've pretty much got Thursday planned.
Cool. Excellent stuff. Well, I'm certain, I mean, we were kind of talking before we came on air, and there's two guys that are just about getting themselves sorted and getting themselves ready, considering somebody who has just installed the NYCC app. Not to put him on the spot or anything, but we have Steve from the Nerd Foo. How are you doing, sir?
Hey.
Yeah, you see,
Good.
this is a
Thank
very...
you, Mr. Lynn.
This is a very civilized podcast compared to you guys, because I was a guest on yours, and you've got a cup of something, and it's not beer for a change.
How do you know?
No, well,
It's a good point.
I'm feeling Irish, so no, I'm just kidding. No, this is it's just coffee, just regular coffee, maybe.
Fair enough. So how are you doing, sir? I mean, it's been a while since we've spoken to you. What have you been up to?
Yeah, I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Thanks for asking. Just like Alyssa said, I've never been to. I'm in full, New York Con prep mode too. Never been to New York, so super excited. Looking forward to it. As my partner in crime keeps telling me, keep in mind we're going for the con. This this is not a Home Alone trip over there. So yeah, I can't wait. I'm super excited. Yeah.
Excellent. Well, okay then. At which point we then go over to the partner in crime. Hello, Chris Sully. How are you, sir?
Doing well. How's everybody?
Well,
Thanks
I'm
for having
fine.
us on. Yeah, thank you for having us on.
Yeah, I mean, just to say, Chris and Steve from the Nerd Foo, and I mean, the last time we saw each other was in San Diego, at which point you two invited me onto your hangout and promptly decided to get me drunk in your hotel room. Just to let you know, if you're watching this, by the way, nothing untoward happened. I woke up,
Well,
I had everything intact.
You can find out otherwise.
That you remember.
We have audio doc.
Excellent. What have you been up to? I mean, what's your prep mode been?
Sadly, for this one, I haven't done a lot of prep. We had MondoCon this weekend in Austin, which was fantastic. We were there all day yesterday, and I can really only focus on like one at a time. So I was in total prep mode for that, and then I'm just going to cram for the rest of the week to get prep for New York. Maybe take a different approach. I always plan for months for San Diego. Maybe just plan a little bit for New York and see how that goes.
I'm very much wanting to talk to you about MondoCon. Hopefully, we'll get a chance to cover that at the back end. So yeah, very much wanting to find out about what you've been up to this weekend. Right, which leads us on to our special guest for this hangout, Mr. Cameron Deuel. Hello, Cameron. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me, Leonard.
It's not a problem at all. I spoke to Cameron last at San Diego Comic-Con as it was in full-blown mob mode on the Funko stand. Just to explain to everyone, who are you in terms of Funko? What do you do for the company?
So I'm part of the marketing department for Funko. I manage the social media accounts. I manage kind of PR, exclusive reveals. I write a lot of blog content, written copy that has been printed on the back of some of our products. So I'm pretty proud of that. And they kind of send me and my partner Yoko McCann to cons to make sure that it goes smoothly. So hopefully this New York Comic Con is the smoothest one yet.
Well, I mean, I do know that it's the first Funko event. It's the first Funko appearance at New York Comic Con, so I can imagine there's a little bit of pressure there about the first time going.
Absolutely, we're really excited about it, and I think we learned a lot from San Diego Comic Con in how we can make it a pleasant event for as many people as possible, how we can make things run more smoothly, and how we can make people, get their hands on the exclusives they want at the end of the day.
Well, I mean, we're going to be covering those as well, because there's been some amazing figures that have been announced over the last week and a bit. So we are going to cover those very soon indeed, because we have been asking you if there's any that you want to see. Cameron's going to show a little bit in better detail as a little bit of a preview of what you can find on the stand at New York Comic Con. If you're watching this, if you want to jump in with any questions for Cameron in terms of Funko, about what the company gets up to, anything that you want to talk about, jump in on the Q&A, and of course we're also going to be taking questions on Twitter as well. If you use the hashtag, if you see up there, I want my Funko. And that's also going to be an important one as well, because what we're going to be looking for throughout the course of this hangout are suggestions for what you would like to see as creations for Funko figures in the future. What would be your dream Funko to stick in the collection? Stick your suggestions using the hashtag #IWantMyFunko. We'll pay attention to that, and we'll also choose a couple at the end, because we do have some prizes to give away at the end of the hangout. So very exciting. But that's the hashtag that you want to use. I want my Funko. But what Funko do you want? Let's find out which fandoms are out there and which ones would like to see some Funkos made. I'm going to let everyone ask some questions. I'm going to get one out of the way first, I suppose. And that is in terms of Funko and preparing for New York Comic Con. I mean, when did conversations start about NYCC?
I think from the creative aspect, it's always like 6 months to a year out. Sometimes things get added late. Like for San Diego Comic-Con, our pop tees were added kind of at the last minute, and we're like, let's just do the exclusive reveal then. But NYCC is kind of it's a smaller version of SDCC, but with the same intentions of showing off our newer lines, showing off licenses we're really proud of. So I guess to answer your question, it could be 6 months to a year out, but we're still there. The last few items that we added in were either, exclusives that maybe we're going to go somewhere else, or things that we decided, we should do that at the last minute. So there were a few that were added in, but mostly, we planned those things really far in advance. I actually believe that SDCC next year's exclusives have already been like talked about. So it's pretty far out in advance, and it's because we want it to be awesome. We don't want them to be kind of afterthought or figures that people are like, I don't know about them. We want them to be really, we want people to be drawn in by them. So.
Okay. Yeah. Right. So obviously NYCC is going to be a big feature about the questions we're going to ask, but I'm certain there's plenty. So we'll launch into questions from my other guests. So Alyssa, I'm certain that a number have come in from the forum.
Absolutely. And I think the first thing that perhaps we should just get out of the way is the booth procedures. Yeah, well, I mean, we got to get it hard first. So you've outlined that there's going to be a ticket line in the queue hall after all of the queues have been processed for the panels. So that line is supposed to start at 11 o'clock. That's, yeah. You've talked about the VIPs needing to being required to have a ticket also.
Yes.
So everybody is going to be funneled into their lurking around while all of the queues are happening for the panels. And I'm just wondering, has anybody kind of thought about how that process, I mean, I'm assuming you've thought about how the process is going to work, but are you going to be pushing people away, saying, no, you can't line up yet?
We won't be able to distribute tickets until that hall is either completely empty or mostly empty. So, and that was that was something that was told to us by NYCC. So it's really up to their discretion as to whether or not there will be a line beforehand. It's really what makes sense at the time, and because we can't say that there will definitively be a line before 11 a.m., nor do we want to say that, because we don't want people doing that. We don't want a crowd that's like forming and is becoming aggressive or frustrated. So all we can really say is that we will distribute tickets at 11 a.m. Once we're allowed to distribute tickets, we'll create a line, but before that, there may or may not be a line for it, and we won't know, and it's based on what NYCC deems appropriate at the time. So I totally, I mean, that's been in our conversations since we've been like talking about how we can make things better, but ultimately it's up to NYCC, and hopefully it'll be an easier process because it'll at least slow people down, and they'll have to go somewhere other than our booth first to get a ticket. And if you get a ticket, you'll be able to get into our booth. And we're only giving out enough tickets to fill the stanchions at the end of our booth, so we won't have a line that's kind of dragging into the aisle and frustrating security and endangering the people around us. So hopefully that'll kind of stop all the madness that happened at SDCC, because I had never seen anything like that before.
Like the Hunger Games.
It was exactly like the Hunger Games. It was like the Hanger Games. And people were just like destroying each other. So it was something we wanted to avoid, and we wanted to make it a more positive experience all the way around. So when we came back from SDCC, we thought, well, like, let's talk about that first and make that the focus of what we're going to do differently this time. So hopefully it changes things. It still means that a line is going to have to form. And there is some uncertainty about like what that's going to look like before 11, but at 11 we'll give out those tickets.
So you're not going to be selling anything at the booth before 11 o'clock?
No, we are not. And that was no one can get into our line before. So if you try to get into our line, you'll be turned to Hall 1C. So.
Okay. The follow-up question to that was: is there any thoughts about why during that first hour you didn't enable or allow VIP members, people who had spent more money on their tickets, to purchase?
Well, part of it was we needed to, like, as NYCC asked us to not start selling until 11. So
okay.
That's why we decided, I mean, that kind of dictated when we were going to distribute tickets. So, I mean, I totally understand that why people are feeling frustrated, but it's also in the spirit of fairness too, I guess. So, and the other thing is there's going to be 2 phases, so you can come get in line at 11, and then we're doing it again at 2:30. So there's going to be 2 phases each day.
Oh, okay. That's good. I will say that NYCC is very good at changing and modifying plans. So if something doesn't work on Thursday, they'll actively change it on Friday. So they have nightly meetings. That's just from a fan perspective of what I've seen of NYCC. So I'm sure that they would be open to suggestions on how to make things run smoother during the con.
Totally. I mean, we were having those conversations during SDCC too. Every day we shut down the booth, we were like, what can we do differently? And we tried different things. We tried a ticketing quote-unquote system, which seemed to make things go a little bit better, but at the same time it felt unruly. So I think this would be a welcomed change, so, at least for us.
I like the idea of handing out tickets. I wish at San Diego that there were tickets in the pavilion, because that once Lego moved to doing tickets upstairs, it made a lot more. It was a lot easier than just mobbing the booth.
I think a lot of people try and find solutions when you have massive events like this. I mean, when you have people that have been queuing up all day for up at the top of the above Hall H, or even in any of the lines at San Diego Comic-Con, and then make their move to get to the booth, and already found the line already full with people who were basically gaming the system from exhibitors. I mean, I can only imagine the frustration that you were feeling when you were seeing sort of like social media messages and people were talking to you about that frustration.
Well, the exhibitor's pass is a thing that is like a source of constant frustration for our customers and the people who want to get in our line, because they see it happen, and I mean, if they want something to change, we have to say, like, talk to NYCC about it, because it's something that's not just at our booth. So, but I will say exhibitors are not welcome to get into our line for tickets to get into our booth until the 2nd phase each day. So hopefully that'll eliminate some of it. But I mean, I know that exhibitors still get the regular passes, and I know they still get in line, and it's frustrating to see it.
There was a wonderful story at San Diego last year about this 6-foot large gentleman whose name was Christie.
Yes, that was somebody who was stood in front of my wife, and
yes,
it was very entertaining to see Christie in the line in front of her. Yeah, absolutely. Any questions from the Nerd Food Boys?
I just have to say, I know a lot of people had anger towards Funko about the booth situation at San Diego, but as a fan, I didn't even get in, and I still do not blame them at all. They were doing everything they could to make that a good situation, and I'm still bummed I didn't get my Batman-Superman combo or a bunch of the other stuff, but it's not the end of the world. You know, it's out there. If I really, really want it, I can go buy it from some flipper online. So, you know, I didn't die, and I got to go see other stuff at the con. So for those who, like, sent in hate letters or did whatever you did, it's not worth all that. Just do your best to get in the line or get a ticket or move on.
Yeah. I love that. The Funko line, I didn't die, so it was good.
Make that the next
that's a T-shirt.
Yeah. You can just hand that to people who are crying when they walk by.
It's a pop image of Cameron. I survived, and so shall you.
Headless Ned Stark.
Awesome.
Yeah, I mean, we would see frustrated people come by and say, like, I've been, you know, buying Funko for like 5 years, and I love Pop, and this totally shifted my perspective of your company, and it was really frustrating for us. We wanted to make it great for everyone, which is, you know, I know it's impossible, but we wanted to make it as positive as possible. And obviously there were things we could change, and we kind of looked at it and went, well, how do we assess this and make the right changes? So I think we did. I think we're doing that. I think this is going to be kind of a testament to how we're going to do things in the future. And like I said, we're going to change basically as much as we can, as soon as we can, to make it the best experience all the way around. But man, it was just so like people would come up, be like, I've been waiting to get into your line for 45 minutes, and I turned around for 30 seconds, and then 5 people got in front of me, and then security capped the line. And I'm like, that's awful. Like, I want to fight my own company for you. Like, it sucks. So that we really have
I'm curious how it's going to be this year as well, at NYCC, because you've got at San Diego Comic-Con, you were at in the back kind of corner, as it were, at the corner of the exhibition floor. For NYCC, you're right in front of the doors. I'm curious how that's going to. I mean, was that something that you kind of, was that placement something that you were kind of requested, or was it something that you were kind of, you opened up the exhibit map yourself and you went, so that's where we are. Crap.
Yeah, it's kind of the latter. I think even though we have posted our booth procedures, we're talking about it, we're sharing it as much as possible, there's inevitably going to be a bunch of people who are like, but I want to get in line now, and I don't have a ticket, and I didn't know that. And so hopefully, those people will be able to get into like the later phase, or they're coming multiple days, they'll be able to get in. But it won't really. Hopefully, it won't really affect the flow of people coming in and out, because the line will fit inside of our booth. Like, the amount of tickets that we'll give out should fill the stanchions. So, I mean, as far as those issues go, I can only really see people saying like, oh, I want to be in this line, but they can't yet. So hopefully that's not an issue. I hope people walk by and go like, that's kind of cool. I want to get in line for that later or tomorrow or whatever. So hopefully it'll be good for exposure, but not. I'm assuming and hoping that it won't create logistical issues. So.
I know that the layout is slightly, obviously, with being your first Funko appearance at New York Comic Con, you're wanting to make the biggest splash you possibly can. What's the obviously it's going to be just a single booth, because at San Diego it was kind of separated into the 2 areas, the Funko and the collector core for Marvel. What's the layout looking like for New York Comic Con?
So the Funko booth for New York Comic Con is actually bigger than the SDCC Funko booth. So it's deeper, so that's it's nice for us, because then we can stock more inventory, and that way between the 2 phases we'll be able to stock and make it so that we have everything available when we reopen at 2:30. The collector core booth will be there too, and I would highly recommend stopping by there if you are a Funko fan and you want something exclusive, but you don't want to wait in line, or you don't want to go get a ticket and make that like your morning plans. I would recommend stopping by the collector core booth, because we're selling the Avengers box, the Ant-Man box, and the Secret Wars box. Get a cool shirt like this, and the boxes are $25 each, and you can just walk up and buy it and then walk away with a box full of Funko exclusives for $25. And we're also gonna, I don't know if you guys are familiar with Smuggler's Bounty, but that's our subscription box service with Star Wars, and our first box is coming out.
We may have heard of it, yes.
I'm so sorry.
We may have heard of it, yeah.
I'm so sorry.
Oh, sorry. No, yeah. There is that as well. No, I have heard of it. I'm excited to hear about it, and yes, I'm thrilled to see what you do with it. But yes, here in the UK, you're not shipping out to it. What's the official line on that? Why is it not being sold outside of North America?
It's something that we're like. It's frustrating on social media because people are like, "Wow, what kind of rights issue is this?" Like, we're just like avoiding it, but we would love to do it. We just there's contractual issues. There's like, we can't sell that outside of the U.S. and Canada, unfortunately, because we would like to. We know there are Star Wars fans around the world, but if you stop by the Collector Core booth for New York Comic Con, you can see one of the items that will be in the Smuggler's Bounty box. We'll have it on display. Nice. I also want to plug it for a minute. Smuggler's Bounty, the first box will have 2 pop vinyl bobbleheads that are part of our Episode 7 line, and then the second box will also have more figures from the Episode 7 line. So I would sign up for at least the first one and see if you like it. I think you will if you like Collector Core and you're familiar with that program. So
Yeah,
What's-
well,
what's the date?
Alyssa, fully expect that box with my name on it heading in your
Absolutely.
direction. Yes, you know that's
What's
coming.
the final date to sign up for that box, actually?
for the Smuggler's Bounty box,
Yep.
November 12th, and there's a countdown on our website, smugglersbounty.com. Yeah, definitely. I can't recommend it enough. I'm sorry. Every time I talk about it, I feel like Leonard's just like,
I'm just excited to see what's inside it. I'm very curious to listen. I know as a Brit, it's not going to get mailed directly to me, but I will be getting my hands on one. So
Good.
I'm not tearing up too much. So that's not a problem at all. Certainly, when one of the questions when I do talk to people about Funko is what comes about is about the variants and about the amount of variants. What's the from the company perspective? I mean, how important are the variants to what Funko does in terms of its business, in terms of getting people's attention? Is it a major part of what you do in terms of sales, or is it just really for the hardcore collectors?
Well, I think it's shifted a lot because a lot of variants have gone to kind of big box retailers like Hot Topic and Barnes and Noble and Amazon, and so it's kind of it allows us to show a range for each character or each line, and I think it's instead of kind of a hunting process like it used to be, now it's more of an extension of things that we've done before. I think like the Harry Potter line is a really good example because we have so much to work with. We have so much material that it would be a shame almost if you only made like one type of each character. So in order to create more variation, I think it's kind of fun to give it to a different retailer or a different distributor. But at the same time, we're still doing some that for like small mom and pop shops. I don't know if you guys saw the metallic Baymax figure that's for fun.com. That's kind of an example of something that we're doing different. We have more exclusives coming out, obviously, but it kind of ranges from small to big, and it lets us to just do more creatively. And I know that in the past people have felt frustrated by what they're calling repaints, but it's really just for us, a chance for us to use a mold to show a different perspective of a character or like a different variation on a character. So it's a big part of what we do, but it's not really like it's more to give the collectors a chance to fill out their collection instead of a like bargaining chip in the secondary market. That's not really appealing to us. Unfortunately.
How many variants do you guys have, Steve, Chris?
I'd say the majority of my
ask.
is now variants now. I shifted from the early days 2 years ago when I would collect like the Walking Dead line. I would get all the regular versions and the variants and put them side by side. And then it got to the point where like my pop collection versus income was starting to get a little out of control. So I just do variants now, and then I'll wait like on a new pop, and if there are no variants, I'll finally go back and get the regular one. Yeah, but I mean, if you look at like the shelf behind me, I think all these are variants that I've picked up, fairly recently, and pretty much everything I get is coming from Hot Topic, Fugitive Toys. I hit those guys up a lot.
Yeah, it's kind of the same for me.
Speaking of being sold at other places, do we expect that the exclusives, the New York City Con exclusives, are going to be sold online? I know some people have mentioned Barnes and Noble or Hot Topic. There was or Gemini Collectibles. Can you give us a hint if because it's so much easier if they're sold there and shipped home as opposed to transporting them?
Well, right, and if we're making something that's got a lot of attention or a lot of people want to add it to their collection, why not? So let me answer your question first. Yes, they will be sold at big box retailers similar to SDCC. So please, they're going to make the announcements. We're not going to point it out and say where to go, but it's going to be a similar deal. And the way that you'll know which one is going to be available at these retailers is whether or not the sticker for NYCC exclusive says a numbered variant or limited edition. So if it says limited edition, it'll be available outside of the con. And so a perfect example is the Iron Throne.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, no, that's limited edition. You'll be able to get that elsewhere, and we're excited about it because like the Iron Throne, everyone wants it. We know Game of Thrones is popular. We know people want to put their favorite pop on the throne. I already it's awesome. But at the same time, we are getting some frustration from people that are like, well, I made it to the con. Like, I should be the only one to get it. But really, we're making these figures in celebration of New York Comic Con, and it's kind of an extension of that outside of the con for people around the country and around the world to also be able to collect it. So we're happy to do it, and I don't think it's ever going to change, but there are numbered variants numbered exclusives that are only available at our booth. So.
How many of those numbered guys are there?
Oh, that's a good question. I would say it's probably like 2/3 numbered. Like 2/3 of the exclusives are numbered. So.
Yeah, I was going to ask on that. I noticed when you were posting out the images on the press releases that a lot of the numbers, instead of there being 1,000, was more like 750 or 500. Is that in anticipation of a smaller crowd, or was there some other thought process behind there?
I mean, I don't know if it was necessarily a smaller crowd, but I think it was, kind of we looked at what happened at San Diego, and we thought, well, why not make certain ones like Ricochet Rabbit? Let's make that one pretty limited, because that's going to skew to a certain type of collector. Not everybody's going to want one, but the people who do want one will really like it. So it's maybe more specialized, but it's not necessarily, with the anticipation that less people will want it. Also, I think there's going to be less people that get through our line based on how many we give out, or based on how many tickets we give out each day. So it's kind of in anticipation of that and kind of measuring how much we can realistically do. So hopefully we'll sell out of everything. But we want,
that is your intention.
We want to see how it goes. Yeah, that's a good day. We want all that stuff to be sold at the booth for the people there. So it should be interesting to see how it goes. But now that you mention it, we do have kind of smaller runs this time.
Mm-hmm.
We are going to have a look at some of the NYCC exclusives in a second. But just to quickly remind you, we are going to be giving a couple of them away at the end of this Hangout. It's going to happen on the Hangout as well. So if you're watching, you're in it to win it. So use the hashtag #IWantMyFunko. We're looking for suggestions of what your dream Funko would be. Which ones would you like to see on your shelf? We've actually got a couple of questions coming in on the Q&A, if that's okay, and also that have come in already that have been on the Twitter, including a couple from our good friend Mark Serby, who's asked a couple of questions.
Serby.
Oh, yes. One of them is actually kind of off the back of the Game of Thrones, which you're talking about there. How difficult is it to license from various studios, such as HBO? You've produced, for example, Game of Thrones figures, but very few from other HBO shows, such as, he would like to see some Deadwood, some Wire, some Sopranos, that kind of thing. What's the kind of licensing issues that you may have with such companies like HBO?
Right. So I think now we're in this really fortunate position where in the past we may have been hunting down licenses, and now it's more sometimes they come to us, sometimes we can point to our body of work and go, what else can we do? But with HBO, we love working with them. We love working with them on Game of Thrones especially. But I would say that we are producing things at such a capacity that to add more stuff on, it basically is just a matter of time. This last year, I think we've probably produced more than we ever have, and it's just on track to keep growth. So I would say just make it obvious that that's something you want, and maybe pull it together on social media, make a campaign or something, because we've had that happen before with Felicity Smoke. I don't know if any of you guys know about Team Felicity, but be nice to them, because they will ruin your life if you are not. Honestly, I would say if you want a certain license, make it obvious on social media. Tell us about it. and then that way we can kind of present it to our upper management, to our CEO, and just say like, there's a draw here, and what like maybe we should do this, because that's helped before. I mean, with Felicity Smoke, it was like we did a Twitter Q&A like a month ago, and a lot of people were like asking about Felicity Smoke, and I was like, when are they gonna? And so like, somebody asked. Well, I don't watch the show, so I don't know much about her or Era really. So I know. Now I need to though. And so, so someone asked if you could make any pop ever, what pop would you make? And Yoko answered, and Mark answered. And my answer was any pop but Felicity Smoke.
Oh.
And then, like, I regretted it dearly. But then people were sending me, like short clips of and like information about her and what she's done in the show and like who she is as a character. And like later that night, I was like, I think I love Felicity Smoke. It was so we presented that to our CEO, and he was like, yeah, let's make it happen. And then we showed basically a mock-up of what it would look like. So if you want to get something made really that badly, just tell us about it, and we'll chalk it up basically.
Gears of War.
Right.
Yeah. Except Gears of War.
That's good to know. We'll be sharing that out multiple times.
I mean, you were talking there about companies approaching you approaching companies. When it came to the Collector Core, which are massive licensing when it comes to Marvel and Star Wars, who came to who when it came to those two boxes?
So that was actually a conversation that happened like right before I started in December, and last December, and so one of my first days at Funko, we had this big meeting, and our CEO, Brian Mariotti, was like, well, okay, I want to talk about two things. First, we're going to launch a subscription box service with Marvel called Marvel Collector Core, and we're like, that's cool. And then he's like, we're going to put this in the first one, and then he like put the Hulkbuster down, and we're like, that's really cool. And awesome. So I think with that, it was kind of a perfect situation, because the Hulkbuster really kind of kicked that off, and I know that Brian had been considering, how do we do this? Do we do like what kind of theme do we go with? How do we do a subscription box? And I think he was like, we got the Hulkbuster, Age of Ultron's coming out. Like, we already work with Marvel, let's pitch it. And he pitched it, and they liked the idea, obviously, so we did it. And then based on that success, we started one with Star Wars. So it really, again, I think it's kind of like we create a relationship with a licensor and then kind of say, like, here's what we can do, let's see how it goes, and then based on that, we can grow.
I got a quick question about that, if you don't mind. I love those teaser videos that you do.
Oh, you do? Yeah.
Do y'all do those over there at your shop, or is that Marvel, or is that
It's actually Evil Core. They're based out of London, and they're the ones that design all of our Vinyl Idols figures. And so they're the ones that are producing the videos, and they're so good. We love them.
Shout out to them. Those things are awesome.
We've got a couple of questions on the Q&A, and then we'll go to a couple from the forum, if that's okay. Let's go to James Ormiston, who turned around and said that he was happy enough with the situation at Comic-Con, because he got there at the very end of SDCC with the Funko booth, and they still had the exclusives that he was after, so he was quite happy. But the question that he's asking is, what does happen with all the con exclusives that don't get sold at the con? About an hour before the end of SDCC, there were loads getting boxed up while the stand attendees were turning people away.
Right. So, yeah, I mean, some of them we're holding on to a bunch of them. We've been talking about launching Funko.com's online store for a long time, so that's an option. Sometimes, if we have enough of an exclusive left over, we'll work out a deal with like a Fugitive Toys or Gemini or something like that. So it really depends on which exclusive and how many we have left. But I mean, it could be a variation of different things.
Okay, Alyssa.
One from forum member Dolphamax. If other booths are selling to VIPs, and this goes back to my original question, if other booths are selling to VIPs in that first hour, you had mentioned that ReedPop specifically asked you not to sell during that first hour of con. Is that what I heard? Did I hear that correctly?
Yeah. So they asked us to not distribute our tickets to get into our booth until 11. So that's really dictating that. They didn't, but at the same time, we're also trying to make it not be a frenzy. So hopefully staggering the time, keeping people out of our line, making it, like basically making it so it's on our terms a little bit is really what we're doing. So,
I'm just trying to divert anger from you guys a little bit, so that we can find out what the process is and what the procedure is and who to appeal to and that kind of thing. So that was where that question. I did. So are you restocking every day?
Yes, restocking every morning in between each phase.
So if you sell out, say at 5 o'clock on Thursday, you will have more on Friday.
Correct.
Okay. Just to clarify, because some booths, don't restock, and once it's gone, it's gone. So.
Right.
Leonard?
We've got a couple of questions, including one that I wanted to ask about as well, in terms of the other brands that you've brought out, certainly in the last sort of 12 months, which have really kind of taken Funko's exposure to the next level in terms of vinyl idols, Dorbs, the Ikari figures as well. We've got a couple of questions also about the Funko Pop tees that have been announced. First question, this has come from Corgi Commander. Hello, Jason. When is the next wave of Funko Pop tees coming, and can you give us a tease about which fandoms we could be seeing?
That's a good question. So right now it's a Hot Topic exclusive, first to market with our pop tees. So so whatever they have available is what we have right now. We have a bunch of awesome things coming based on popular licenses. I'm sure you can make some educated guesses. As far as when they're coming out, I would probably say 2016. I know what everything. I have an idea of what our rollout is looking like for the rest of the year, and I haven't seen pop tees on that yet, so I would imagine it'll be sometime next year. But we are very excited about pop tees. We're really happy with the response so far. So, and like we've said before, vote with your wallet. So we've definitely seen them with pop tees, and we hope to continue.
I quite like the hashtag. Well, yeah. I quite like the tees that you've brought out for the exclusives for New York Comic Con. They are absolutely stunning. For the ones that you've come out. Are they possibly going to be able to be purchased beyond New York Comic Con, or are they going to stay New York Comic Con exclusives?
Those are New York Comic Con.
That's actually a question from my wife. Just to let you know who has taken a particular shine to a couple of those T-shirts. But I may have to make some inquiries. So yeah, they are New York exclusives.
They are.
Right. At which point that's fine. Listen, next year I'll get you next year. I suppose we nicely dovetail into then the exclusives that you've announced for this year. Have there been any when it comes to social media that the ones that have just exploded? People have just gone, now that we like. Which ones have really attracted people's attentions?
The Iron Throne. That has been like everyone wants it. It's exciting because it's something that I think we've had kind of on the back of our minds for a long time. So it's finally out. Let's see what else. The Jack Skellington with Vampire Teddy Pop.
Yeah.
Also pretty popular. The Stan Lee that we'll have.
Yes.
The Cthulhu, like no one was really expecting the Cthulhu pop.
Me. That's the one I want, absolutely.
That's
the patina is awesome on that.
Yes. Oh, that's gorgeous.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you guys like it, and we were really excited to share that because I think a lot of people were like, "All right, you guys have Harry Potter and Doctor Who and all these things. What are you gonna do?" And we're like, "Deuel." And then also the other thing is the Phasma Pop Tea. I would say like a lot of people like the Captain Phasma Pop Tea.
Oh, yeah.
It's cool because it's a movie that isn't even out yet, and people have favorite characters, and I love that. Phasma is awesome. I love Captain Phasma. I don't know anything about her yet.
Look at Leonard.
Oh no, well, on Force Friday, I went to a number of the stores, and it really just turned into there was like these little clans. It was you're either a BB-8 fan. Hello, BB-8.
Yep. I have mine right there.
Yay!
There it is.
Are you having as much fun with yours as I am with my Sphero? I'm loving my BB-8.
I love it so much. I'm so glad you convinced me to get it because we went out as a marketing team on that Friday to we were like, oh, it would be really responsible and smart for the marketing team to go look at what the Force Friday offerings were like. So we took it upon ourselves to go to Target and Toys R Us and all these places. And I couldn't find the BB-8 anywhere until Yoko pointed out that Bed Bath & Beyond was part of Force Friday. So for the first time in my life, I went to Bed Bath & Beyond and like any normal person, I walked out with a droid. So
fantastic. Okay, so the exclusives that you got, like I say, we talked about the teas. I'm certain that I think you've got a couple there that you'd like to show us.
Yes.
These, I know that we've got a couple that have been chosen by people on Twitter. So let's see which ones that you've chosen to show us today.
Okay. So I'll start off with one. I think a lot of people are looking for all these, but we have the Cookie Monster Flocked Pop.
Love that.
I'm not going to take any of them out of the box just because I think.
Oh man!
Why would you?
Hashtag you're doing it right.
So yeah, as you can see, it's a flocked Cookie Monster. So that's one that I think is probably going to be okay. I think people are going to be pretty interested in that one. I brought the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle Dorbs 4-pack.
Yes.
That it's cool because the packaging is different. It's kind of a throwback to when the original comics came out. A lot of people are like, why are they all Raphael? And it's not the case. Weapons, they're all, so they're all there, and you can get this one at our booth. So I wanted to show that off because Vinyl Sugar, the Vinyl Sugar lines, especially Dorbs and Vinyl Idols, have done really well, and we're thrilled because it's a new format for us. We can do kind of different things with it. And then I have Jack and Vampire Teddy.
Oh boy.
See him?
Well, I think that's the one that a lot of people have been interested in. I know that Tiffany is a geek on Twitter, and Usagi Mylene was as well. And these, yeah, absolutely.
So there's that guy. And then I also brought the Dorbs XL Detective Mode Batman, because I just wanted to show that guy off. It's new packaging for the Dorbs XL. It's small. It's smaller. The box itself is smaller, so it kind of shows off the figure a lot better. I wanted to show that guy.
That's clean.
A lot of people, when we show this, are like, why would Batman ever smile? This is a rip-off. But I think it's cool. It's part of our design. Or even said, it's why would he smile? He's a DC character. And to that I say, please be quiet.
So mean. Easy with the language, Cap.
That's my boy.
And then we have Stan the Man.
Yes.
Yes.
There he
That
is.
guy.
Hang on. Let me just make sure it's on your camera.
I'm literally throwing money at the screen right now.
And then on the back, well, I don't know if I should show the back yet.
Uh-oh.
Oh, okay.
I won't show.
I'll still bring it.
I saw, but Stan Lee's collectibles booth is going to have a gold statue variant, so make sure to stop by there. And then finally, I brought the Iron Throne.
Beautiful.
And then it's just part of our Series 5, so it's not like a bunch of new characters on the back yet. But so yeah, there's that, and It's magnificent.
Yes.
So yeah, those are the ones I brought to show. We didn't have any pop tees, otherwise I would have brought one or two to show off. But yeah.
That's very
Let me
cool.
know if you want to see any of them. I can do kind of a quicker. I know I kind of blazed through those, but I can do kind of a quicker reveal.
Well, actually, a bunch of questions are coming in. Number one, certainly about the exclusives and how the hell can we get hold of them. You've got to go to New York Comic Con. That's the way it works. They're con exclusives. Someone has been asking about the licensing you did with Conan at San Diego Comic Con. How did that come about?
So that was kind of an interesting one because he reached out to us, I believe, and there were all these plans of possible marketing strategies or like appearances or things like that, and ultimately, like, we made the deal. Like, he was like, I would like a Funko made of me, or like his people were saying. He wasn't calling us directly, but there was like this, he would like a pop made of himself, and we were like, okay, let's make like 4 of them. And they're like, okay. And then his whole presence at SDCC, all the banners, all of the signage everywhere was him as a pop, which was really exciting for us because we like all got off the plane and saw it all over the airport. It was awesome. And we saw that giant
luggage carousel.
It was surreal because it was like, wow, that, like, I saw the person designing those on their computer, like, in our office. So it was cool. We felt really fortunate that was a partnership that happened. Conan's the best. So
yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm certain it was thrilling as well to have the Funko brand being sort of like broadcast on a national level, and all of a sudden everyone knew who Funko was. It was just certainly that styling.
Yeah, it was like a different type of customer was getting to see Funko for maybe the first time, and it was a format that was kind of familiar maybe, but it was a character that they loved. So it was like, well, it's a little Conan figure, and what is a Funko, what is a pop, and so I've definitely noticed a bunch of people since then who are like, I started collecting after SDCC or after I saw Conan present them, or I won one at the Conan taping, and now I collect. Now I have 300, so it's like, it's been great. We're really thrilled by it.
Those are people on a slow pace.
Yeah, I'm like, you only have 3,000? It's like, wow.
July? Come on, at least try.
James Ormson on the Q&A is saying, love the Conan Pops, so glad I managed to get 2. So glad I've managed to resist buying the other 2 on eBay. I want them, my wallet just won't forgive me. So it's understandable. In fact, a lot of people, when I've spoken to people about the Conan licensing, they were actually surprised that Conan was the first kind of personality to have that kind of Funko, and was expecting someone like Nerdist, Chris Hardwick, to get a Funko.
Absolutely. I mean, that opened up the conversation more because we weren't really sure. That's kind of a tough thing to gauge. Like, a Conan pop in theory before all that was like, that's really cool, and he's a great character. People love him. It kind of fits the customer base that we're working with. But would it be that pop? Like, what? So the exclusives in that way, I think, are always going to make more sense than kind of a wider net. So if we're doing like, another thing that comes up a lot is famous iconic directors. So if we had like a J.J. Abrams or something like that, like, that's something that people throw out a lot, and we're like, that's awesome because he's creating a lot of the things that we're focusing on too. So it's kind of the same thing, but do we make that across the board? Like, how many people would realistically add that to their collection versus just saying it? And so it fit perfectly for SDCC, and it kind of opened the door for other things of that ilk in the future.
Well, if you produce a Guillermo del Toro pop, I would number one, I want to see what that looks like, and number 2, that would just be so incredibly cool.
I mean, or a jazz, or that would be great.
Oh my God! I'm going back to my Twitter, and it's just going to be like, make Steven Spielberg.
Yes.
And you can also make a George Lucas one for the Star Wars box, so people can then just pick it and just shake it about a bit and just.
With Jar Jar.
I have like a Chewbacca with George's head on it.
Oh my gosh.
Or J.R.
Questions? Any more from the forum? Because I've got a couple from the Q&A, but well, from NerdFoo, from everyone. Any other questions that you have?
I'm watching our Twitter feed right now. It's blowing up. When are we gonna see a NerdFoo variant? I think that's what that says. I don't know. I could be wrong.
Tweeted by Tuba.
Yeah, I think so.
He just smiles.
He's just gone very enigmatic, guys.
Yeah.
I think I missed
He's got a
that
gag
one.
order.
Let's see.
Did you say
I'll DM you.
I do have one question. It's kind of more where the company is going, and this comes from NCDS. With the mass production of Pops and the fact that exclusives are being sold in multiple places, how do you plan on maintaining the value of them over the years, or what's your future thought in longevity for the company?
Right. I think we're starting to diversify quite a bit. Pop is ultimately still king right now, but we're familiar with the fact that the market can ebb and flow. We know that Pop, maybe super popular now, but what else can we do in the meantime to kind of build up the Funko brand? And I think Vinyl Sugar has really helped in that regard. It's focused on a different type of consumer. It's more of like a high-end vinyl collector. We've done a lot with mystery minis. I think draws in a lot more of maybe a different crowd. We've done more soft sculpts with fabrications and Mopies. We have, we're doing a lot of new things, and I think maybe the biggest thing that we've done lately is apparel and houseware. So now we have Pop tees coming out that I think people are maybe, it's interesting, people are collecting them in box but are taking their Pops out of the box. So there's the Pop tee collectors, there are people who are inevitably going to probably fall in love with the Pop home mugs and salt and pepper shakers, and we're playing around with format a lot, and we're playing around with different maybe utility behind it. So instead of having a wall of Pop, it's like you can now wear it, and you can, like, as someone eloquently said when we announced our Hulk mug, they were like, now I can finally drink out of the Hulk's head, and it's like
that was a bucket list item for somebody. I really feel for him.
It's like, I like the cut of your jib, sir. I think to answer your question, we're really doing a lot more. We're trying a lot more variation, and especially with the subscription box services, we're able to kind of test the market in certain ways and go like, all right, we have Pop tees in all of our NCC boxes so far. How do they do? Should we try something else? Should we play around? Should we take 2 Pops out and put something else in? So we're really doing we're experimenting.
I quite like the fact that you did the survey a couple of months back, talking about what elements of the boxes were attracting the most attention. It shows that you were really paying attention to the customers and finding out what they actually want to see inside the boxes. I thought that was very cool.
Yeah.
Oh,
go ahead. Sorry.
As an owner of the Venom mug that Marvel put out in, I think, the Loot Crate box a few months ago, I am looking forward to the Pop mugs. Are you going to show those at Con at all, at New York Con at all? Are you going to have displays?
We won't have them at New York Comic Con, but other retailers might, like other booths might have it. So
it's a display, not necessarily for sale, just because it's so cool.
For New York Toy Fair, I know we had them last February, so I'm sure in this coming February we'll have kind of an emphasis on Pop Home. So you might be able to see more designs, more mugs especially. It's cool because people collect mugs already.
Yes.
Okay, we've got a couple of questions which are coming from the Q&A, and then we'll ask a couple of questions for the Nerd Fruit Boys, because I want to ask about Mondo, and we'll give Cameron time to have a look through the I Want My Funko hashtag. So final chance to get those in, by the way, because we are. We were told that we had 3 prizes, but there were more than 3 exclusives there. So let's find out how generous Cameron's feeling on this one.
I didn't even show the prize yet.
We're also going to be giving a chance for you to win throughout the course of the week beyond the Hangout. So don't worry, you do have a chance. If you're listening back on the audio version, or if you're watching this back on YouTube, don't worry, we do have a chance for you to win between now and next Sunday. So keep trying with the I Want My Funko. Right, a couple of questions. Certainly when it comes to New York Comic Con, this is a couple from Janine Licaro. How many tickets are going to be giving out for each session?
I don't know the answer to that. I'm just going to say that straight up. I don't know. That's something that went into kind of the booth planning, and I don't know how many tickets will be available.
Fair enough. Is it something that you're thinking of doing at San Diego Comic Con? You said that you're already starting to think about things about to do next year. Will Funko be handing out tickets at the pavilion?
I would imagine that based on how this one goes, and we're kind of assuming it'll be a lot more manageable, that'll be kind of the uniform way that we approach our booth going forward. So, you know, if this one's successful, then we'll just keep doing it. But we're open to change, and I would recommend that people follow us on Twitter and Facebook, because we will make slight adjustments maybe each day. I'm not sure what they are yet, but we want to make it better for everyone. So follow us, and that'll be the easiest way to get updates about any news about our booth.
Okay. And one last question from the Q&A. This is from Jason Coe, from Corgi Commander again. Any chance of chase variants for Collector Core or Smuggler's Bounty?
It's funny you should mention that, because one of the pops in the first Smuggler's Bounty box is a chase variant. And I don't know about the rarity, so I'm already going to answer that question right now. Don't know the rarity. But it's exciting. I think a lot of people are pretty into the idea of doing something like that. Some are not. Let's see, what else about Smuggler's Bounty? So that's going to happen. The October box for Collector Core it's not a chase variant, and it's not a variant or anything. It's a new mold of a character we've never done before. So that's kind of piggybacking off of that. We're also creating new different characters too for these boxes. So a lot of reason to sign up.
I mean, yeah, I think we know from the Marvel ones as well, what you get in the box are exclusive to the box. So no, they are really.
Yes.
I mean, when we've given boxes, we gave a box away a couple of months back, and everyone was just thrilled to see what was inside. So no, yes. we're fans. We're big fans.
Yeah, I was going to say with the subscription boxes, we've been subscribing to the different services for the last few years, and the biggest gripe from a lot of the other ones from the consumers is that they're inconsistent in the quality, or I got this whole month of box and I don't like anything in it. The Marvel Collector Core and the Smuggler's Bounty take all that question out of it. Like, you instantly know I am a Star Wars fan. Everything in that box is geared towards me, or I love Marvel. Everything's for me. So it's just a no-brainer that everyone's going to end up getting these.
Well, really pleased to hear that. And you know, we're really trying to focus on value, and I think a lot of people tend to focus on the like the pop figures only for each box. But if you look at like the Secret Wars box, it was $25, and you got a T-shirt, which a pop tee is already around $25, and then you get 2 pops, a patch pin, and a comic, and all of it's exclusive to the box. So, you know, from our perspective, we're like, this is like, what, you know, we're really hoping that that's the feedback, is that people are feeling like they're getting their value's worth.
Well, I'm quite liking the fact that both yourself and Steve have come fully armed.
Oh yeah.
Sorry, Chris. Sorry. Fully armed with the Secret Wars tees. There you go.
We did not plan that.
and they also cross over. You've got you appeal to the comic collector and the T-shirt wearer and the pop collector, which is nice. You know, so it's not just specifically, this is for gamers this month, and everybody else can. Yeah. You know, take a month off.
Yeah, if there's anything on NerdFoo and Facebook and Twitter and our website that has performed equally or even close to pops, it's been T-shirts. People love T-shirt art, unique T-shirt ideas. I love it. And then when you walk around, there's like this secret brotherhood. You give the nod when you see like you
don't talk about
Collector Core shirt. You know, kind of the hey, I see you.
Actually. if you wear a Collector Corps shirt and you come to the Collector Corps booth and you buy a box, we're giving away this poster, this magnet.
Oh, very nice.
Nice. You heard it here first.
What's that? Yeah, no, we haven't announced this
first.
yet. We wanted to show this off here. That poster. We're gonna have a limited quantity, so hopefully we'll run out of those. And going back to the chase variant really quickly, Dorbs are now going to have chase variants. So if you're a Dorbs collector, I would recommend getting in there.
Just in time for the horror series.
Yeah, well, and so I've seen a few so far. I didn't realize we were doing chase variants, and then I came to work one day and my desk was covered in them. So it was like we have some for Ghostbusters, the Dorbs that we had last week, and then we have some for Marvel that we've done so far. So yeah, there's a lot of really cool stuff. I'm just trying to make sure I mentioned all the things I wanted to.
Word to the wise, make sure one of those is Winston.
Winston is out. We made a Winston Dorb. Don't worry.
Saved us like 1,000 comments.
Oh my god.
Hashtag where's Winston?
Yep.
When they
was
were like,
trending.
we're making Ghostbusters Dorbs, we were like, if there isn't a Winston, we're walking out. Like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah, you better borrow the doors at Funko headquarters.
Yeah, seriously, I don't know. I'm just glad we're making it, and Dorbs is really exciting because we just announced like Dorbs rides with the Dorbs Batmobile, which is really cool, and a lot of people have been responding positively to that. So you can expect more in that.
Brian teased the Fast and Furious.
Yeah, so Brian will get onto the forums sometimes and just kind of let loose, and we don't know that he's doing it until later when someone sends us a screenshot of all the stuff. So I checked with our licensing manager, and I have a list of things that I can confirm for sure. So we did a Q&A on Friday. We announced that we are going to do Golden Girls. Finally, we're going to do Alias Lost is a big one because people asked for it for like years, and we were like, it was kind of confusing because we were like, yeah, but it's like it's not on anymore, and like, is it really that big? And there is that big of a draw, so I'm glad that Brian saw that because we're going to do that. Alias is another one. Scooby-Doo is another one that our artists are like freaking out over. They don't want to do forever. As far as vinyl idols go, we will have Breaking Bad. Yes. We will have American Psycho. And then for Dorbs, let's see. We have, this isn't necessarily for Dorbs or Pop, it's just another license that we're doing, but we're doing Clueless.
Nice.
I didn't realize, but Brian is a huge Clueless fan.
Really?
Yeah, it's awesome. Why not?
Excellent.
So yeah, there's a lot of really exciting things coming.
Cool. Right. Well, I mean, we're going to very quickly go to the search on Twitter at this point, Brian, Cameron, and have a look at I Want My Funko, and let's see if we can. I don't know how many you're choosing for prizes for this time. I think we'll save the Iron Throne for the weekly draw. Is that okay? Are we giving one of those away?
I haven't shown the prizes yet, actually.
Oh, right, okay.
Oh.
No, fair enough. Well, I'll tell you what, very quickly show us the prizes then, and then we'll go on then. What have we got?
Right. So we have Rico with Mallet from Penguins of Madagascar. It's a numbered exclusive, so that's one that we're going to have. And then we have the Unmasked Power Armor.
Yes.
Nice.
Oh.
Awesome looking.
So then there's that, and then the last one we have is Poseidon's Rage Kratos, which is kind of like a blue translucent version of the Kratos.
That's very cool.
Yeah,
right.
love that.
I think we'll pick one of those to go onto the weekly draw. So we'll go for the God of War. We'll save the God of War for the weekly draw. Okay, we'll do that as a raffle. So do check out. We'll send you the link, or we'll post the link in the description below of the video. But the other two, Rico and the middle one. Sorry, we're going to be giving those away on Hangout now. But what we're going to do is we're going to let Cameron have a look at the hashtag I Want My Funko. He's going to pick 2 of those. Just to give you an idea of what has been suggested already, we're going to quickly run through. We've had Carl Clement turning around and asking for Death from DC, and also Mojo from Marvel. We've had Chicano Pride 16. It would be awesome to see some Ratchet and Clank pops.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
These are great ideas. Great ideas. I hunger for SDCC, and I'm backing him on this one because I think we've talked about this on the Hangout before, and all he says is Galactus, Galactus, Galactus.
That's awesome.
That's all he says. We've also had Y Candleless, who's asking if there's going to be any Indiana Jones Funkos in the future, which is a good question. Dolphin AX2. I would like to see the Supernatural Impala made into a pop ride. The pop ride is something we haven't talked about. Angela Copley, Dream Funko would be ElfQuest. Betsy Woodin, I want the Chris Hardwick. Obviously, we've talked about Chris already. What else have we've got? Lee Bruins. I'd love to see Babylon 5, Stargate, or Farscape pops. As a Farscape fan, I would be very much up for that.
Those would look amazing.
Farscape and Babylon 5. Yes, please.
Corgi Commander, any chance of Jean-Claude Van Damme or Arnold Schwarzenegger pops? I think they're going to be they would be supersized if they ever got produced. And also on the Q&A, let's see what else we've got. I think no, it's Jason reinforcing the 80s movie fans, so suggesting Bloodsport, Running Man, and Terminator on those. When it comes to, by the way, my missus, Caroline, who I know isn't watching, but she's asking. Actually, this is a good question. This is regarding the Serenity ones, or the Firefly pops. You did a number of the Fireflies, but there was only a number of the members of cast. Just wondering if there's going to be like a second run. Book, River, and Simon.
There's always a chance for a wave 2. That's our answer most of the time. Is if the series does really well, then we can look at it and go, all right, let's make another one. But that's really the only requirement. So.
And she also asks about the pop ride, which would be the Serenity. Oh, and new Battlestar Galactica. Yes. Come on. She's not the only person to say that as well. New Battlestar. Come on.
I know.
So yeah. Right. So we're going to let Cameron very quickly have a look at that hashtag, and we're going to now talk to the Nerd Food Boys about Mondo, which was this weekend. So what did you get up to, guys?
Steve, you want to jump in?
It was awesome. Of course there was a lot of artists there. It's always good to put faces to the artists. Normally when you buy a Mondo poster, if you're lucky enough to get in on that mad sale when they're up on their site, they're always gone like in a matter of seconds. But when you get the poster, you will get a signature sometimes, and a number value, but you hardly ever see the artists themselves, and that's a great opportunity going to that con to actually say hi. And I think we saw William Stout and Kevin Tong and Mike Mitchell. They were all there, and Rob Jones. And I don't think there was one artist there that didn't have a nice sized line coming out, coming out of the halls there. It was really cool.
How many people? How big is the MondoCon?
It's only their second year, and it takes place at a Holiday Inn, and then across the street at an old movie theater. And I would say there's no more than 5,000, maybe going to 10,000 people total.
Wow.
Yeah, and these places, the hotel's the hotel. They didn't. I don't think last year they utilized the hotel the way they did this year, but. Other than the hotel, the Marchesa Theater, where the big meat of the con is, it's big, but the rooms on the inside are not that big. So, you've got some lines that can form, and there's nobody complaining. Everybody's anxious. Everybody wants their posters. Everybody's got all kinds of homemade to store-bought custom tubes strapped to their back. They look like they're carrying rocket launchers. we saw several people that had these like industrial strength PVC, just big, just huge poster tubes strapped to their back.
Car over them and it wouldn't damage them.
Yeah, I mean, and some of them are carrying 2 to 3 of them on their back too. And
a technique that I used last year at San Diego, because I collect Mondos too, is with the smaller bags that they have, you can fit 2 or 3 tubes right in that bag. So you dump the bag that they give you, and the tubes that the Mondos come in, they fit right in there, and it is just like woo woo woo. You get it out, and it's very easy. So if somebody is interested in collecting the Mondos, that's the way to go with it. Absolutely.
I think the best part of this convention, and the reason that Steve and I are not going to skip out, is he did allude to it. You're lucky if you get one of their posters online. At the convention, there is a long line, but they have a whole room. I call it the print tent. This year it was actually indoors, but where you have access to exclusives for the show. And there were probably 15 different posters and variants. They had their little Mikey vinyl, which I picked up on the variant there. I won't show that because I don't want to upset Cameron. And then they had a Mondo exclusive poster for the convention that was reasonably priced, so everybody could take home at least a souvenir. Their pins. I actually picked up on a different kind of Mondo poster. I got a set of 4 of these Mutant Ninja Turtles sketches. There's one for each of the different turtles, and
those are great.
200 prints on those. And then, one of the vendors that we didn't know about it until Twitter recently, High Def Ninja, they make different variant steelbooks. Got this one for Zombieland, and inside the cover here, it's got a UV ink. So under a black light, it shows up with blood splatter and all kinds of different words and stuff on the front.
Pretty cool.
I thought that was really cool. The steelbook thing has really taken off lately. I love. I got the Shaun of the Dead that Target had as an exclusive. And there's a bunch coming. I really see that as one of the next big collectibles out there. Those steelbooks are blowing up.
Even the display that High Def had at their booth with all the steelbooks, that was pretty cool. They basically took like 2 pieces of glass or clear acrylic, they spaced them out, and they pressed them. And that's something I wouldn't have thought to do because, I was wondering, if you start getting into collecting steelbooks like that, I mean, it's really cool. How would you display them? And I think that's a really good idea.
Because otherwise they go in a drawer or on a bookshelf and you just see the side of it. That's not very fun.
Just so everybody understands, the collecting the Mondo posters and buying them online is very akin to what it was like. It used to be like to get the San Diego tickets before, when it was first come first serve. So it's that kind of intensity. And if you can do it if you're ninja on the keyboard.
Oh yeah.
Actually, but
my regular daytime job, I was talking to one of my coworkers, and they were talking about the upcoming MondoCon, and he was talking about Tyler Stout, William Stout, and people like that. But he was saying back in the day, it was nothing like, because he's got I don't know how many. But he was saying back in the day, it wasn't nowhere near like the way it was. You could just order it, not a problem. There was plenty to go around, and now it's, like Alyssa said, now it's a mad dash.
Yeah. I'm very curious to see, because we have a convention here in the UK which is very artist and creator based, which is Thought Bubble, which takes place in Leeds in November, and Mondo came for the first time last year. Lines around the tent. It was absolutely fantastic. They did a Back to the Future print for Thought Bubble as an exclusive. They're back again this year. I know that they brought a whole bunch of the artists over. I'm very curious to see what they do for Thought Bubble this year. I'm a big fan as well. It was interesting to go to their booth at Comic-Con this year as well, because for a name which has the hype that it does, and people are excited to get their Mondo posters, it's just there you go. They're just
It's very
piled
small.
up. It's very very.
But for their big poster, their Ant-Man foil poster at San Diego this year, they had people lining up like 6 hours beforehand because they wanted to make sure that they got their poster.
Yeah.
I saw that in person at MondoCon yesterday for the first time, and I didn't know how that foil would work, but it is gorgeous. I really wish I had taken the time to pick up on it. And there's more coming from some other companies in that similar foil fashion. Was it Gray Matter, Steve? That will be
Gray Matter Art. Yeah, they're based on the East Coast, and they sent out a press release, and I showed Sully the press release yesterday, and there's some awesome marble posters that they're gonna have there.
Are they going to be at New York Con?
Yes, they will.
Gray Matter will be.
Yeah. I'm going to, don't leave afterwards. I want to get their booth number from you. Sorry.
Well, yeah, I mean, next week, of course, it is going to be it's the big show, New York Comic Con. Like I say, we're going to be doing a special. Alyssa is going to be joining us from a vantage point above the exhibition floor, and hopefully going to be joined by Jason and Jesse from the Nerd Truth, and also from comicbook.com. Russ Burlingame is hopefully going to pop by as well, talking about their headlines and highlights of New York Comic Con.
Briefly, I do need to do one thing, and I've got to send a thanks out to all of the people on the forum who contributed to the questions. Millie, Brad K, Stefan42, NCDS, Rando, Sam Turtledove, and Dolphamax. I didn't mention specifically which questions they had because it was just not that kind of a show. But I needed to do a shout out to them. Thank you.
Likewise to everyone who did get in contact with myself and also with the Nerd True Boys for getting questions. And thank you so much, Cameron, for joining us. You've been very generous with your time. Thank you very much indeed.
Oh, I'm happy to help answer some questions and provide some clarification on how our booth is going to work. I hope everyone has a great con and they get the things that they want ultimately. So.
Right. So
what are our goals?
This is where we did rattle off a bunch of people who put in the hashtag, but it wasn't everybody because there's been loads of people. I just picked a number of highlights. So we've got the 2 pops, which we're going to give away as prizes, and we have Cameron has chosen the ones which we're going to give away too. So, first pop, which one are you going to give away? Let's see.
Let's go with Rico.
It's going to go for Rico, and who is that? Who's going to be receiving that?
I'm going to go to Gene Lucero at Dolphin AX2.
Excellent. Congratulations, Dolphin AX2. Excellent stuff. You get your Rico. We'll be in contact with you and get the details to you. And what's the second one?
The Power Armor Unmasked. That's going to go to Michael Leventhal at MLNY.
Nice.
So there you go. Listen, he has been on the Hangout. He has been a guest. These were chosen by Cameron. He doesn't know. So there you go. He's randomly chosen. Yeah. Congratulations. Excellent stuff indeed. You are our winners. What we're going to do now then is with the third and final, with the God of War pop, we're going to create a raffle copter. I'm going to get that up and running within the next couple of hours, and you'll find that on the An Englishman in San Diego competition page. It'll go up on the homepage, but it'll be within the next 7 days, and we'll randomly draw it to find out who the winner of that God of War pop will be for next Sunday. So hopefully you'll join us, and hopefully we'll find out who the winner is for that. All the people that have contributed to the hashtag as well will be automatically put into that raffle. So don't worry, you don't have to kind of go and put in all your details. We'll put all those draws in. You'll be automatically put into that raffle as well. So thank you very much indeed to Cameron. Thanks, of course, to the Nerd Free Boys. Thank you very much indeed, Chris. It's been a pleasure as always.
No problem. Thank you for having us.
It's also always good to see the Funko collection growing nicely in the corner. Although there is this white section in the lower left, which I think now needs to get filled up.
One day I'll spin the camera 360 and you can see the mess that is this room. But for now, I'll hold back.
Thank you very much indeed, Chris, and thanks again. Oh, thanks to Steve. It's been too long, and hopefully won't be so long until we get you back on the Hangout again.
Sure. Sounds good.
Excellent. Thank you very much indeed. And once again, Alyssa, thank you very much indeed for joining us. And I hope you have a great time at New York Comic Con.
I will, and I just would hope everybody can think good thoughts for me, because I have got 25 comic creators that I need to get signatures from.
Whoa.
Yeah, exactly. So please wish me luck.
Fingers crossed for you. Fingers crossed.
Thank you. Thank you. I'll need it.
Thank you very much indeed for joining us. I hope you've enjoyed this NYCC special with Cameron Deuel from Funko. We're back again next week with our live show from New York Comic Con. Do take care. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. And from everyone at Talkin Comic Con, have the rest of a great Sunday. Take care, everyone, guys.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Everybody, thank you.
Take it easy.